Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Math Unlocked. I'm your host, Mrs. Rhodes-Grierson. What are we doing today in this lesson? We're doing transposition with fractions. We know that fractions is generally that little part of the math that gives a little issue. So we want to ensure that those concepts are cemented. So we want to do more of them to get you familiar and comfortable. Now I'm going to transpose and I want to make x the subject. So remember that in the previous lesson we spoke about transposition with using the onion method. So here I'm going to circle what I want to make the subject. I want x to be the subject. Now I'm going to do my rings to show what are the other terms or the other variables that are on the same side as my x, same side of the equal sign. So here's my door and the door is closed. All of these things are over here and I want to make x the subject. So I'm going to put my rings on. The first ring here that I'm seeing is y, that's the closest thing to x. The next one is my p and I'm going to peel my onion to remove all of those layers. Now if you notice that in order to peel I must move the outermost shell first. So I'm going to move that p. Remember we did operations and opposite operations in order to eliminate and to get rid of p, since this is a division bar. It means that it's been divided by p. So in order to cancel this p, I must multiply the expression by p. And I'm cancelling p really. But if I have an equal sign, it means that if I change this side of the equal sign by multiplying by p to make this balance or remain equal, the other side of the statement needs to be multiplied by p as well. And that means really p not gone out of the statement completely. P is still in the statement, but it's no longer on this side, it's now over the other side. And it's no longer being doing division, it's now doing multiplication. Alright? So now I need to write my next statement. My next statement would therefore be that x plus y is equal to np. And notice I just put them together to say that n times p is just np. Or I could write pn. But the essence now is that still I need the core, and the core is surrounded by y. So I need to get rid of the y. What operation gets rid of y? I think you should know this by now. The opposite operation to addition is subtraction. So if I want to cancel this y from here, in order to cancel it, I'll have to subtract y. But remember, it's an equation. So it therefore means that over this side was equal to over that side. So if I change it by subtracting y, I must subtract y from the other side as well to make the statement true or balanced. Now this y is now gone because positive y cancels a negative y to leave us with what? X is left. What is now x equal to? What is over that side? np minus y. Once I have peeled all the layers to expose the core, and the core is now a statement because it is by itself on one side of the equal sign, p is now the subject of the statement. I would have successfully transposed to make x the subject of my statement. And of course, come along with me now. Let's look at this one. If I have x divided by p is equal to n divided by y, and I want to make p the subject. Focus your attention at all times on what you want to make the subject of the statement. I want to make p the subject. If you notice that p is in the denominator of the fraction. So one of the first things I'm going to tell you about the fraction ones now, when it comes on to your the subject being in the denominator, is that you don't want it down there. In order to make it the subject, you want it in the numerator. So I'm just going to flip this. I'm going to flip this and put p over x. But if I manipulate this statement by flipping this fraction, because it was an equation, it was equal to what was over there. It means that if this side is flipped, in order to maintain that equality, it means the other side must be flipped. So p over x is now equal to y over n. So if I want to make p the subject, now that it's in the numerator, all I need to do is to get rid of the x. Since the x was doing division, I will multiply both sides by x. And notice I said both sides, people. Both sides. Both sides by x. in order to cancel this x from here, which now leaves us with what? It now leaves us with a statement that says P is equal to xy over n. All I do is to combine all of this together. Since I'm multiplying, x multiplies y to combine, and all of that is now over n. P is on this now the subject of the statement. P is now the subject of the statement because it is by itself on one side of the equal sign. So P is now my subject. Of course, I'm leaving one with you. Of course, I'm leaving one with you. What am I leaving with you? So you're going to make y the subject. Make y the subject of y plus 1 over n is equal to n. You're going to make y the subject. Put your answers in the comment. So you're making y the subject. What are you making y the subject in? Make y the subject in the statement y plus 1 divided by n is equal to n.